The Sydney Cricket Ground was a marvellous sight at 2:30 this afternoon when play began in the preliminary match between Australia and the West Indies in the Benson Hedges World Series Cup. 35,000 people in the ground. We expected the crowd to rise to 40,000 later on, but it really was a superb sight. The teams were the same as represented West Indies and Australia on the last two occasions those teams have played. Garner and Marshall failed fitness tests for the West Indies, and 12th man for Australia was Wayne Phillips. The pitch, well, it was a pretty good-looking one-day strip, just a little bit of grass on it, but it was very firm, and Tony Greig told me before the start of play that he expected it to play very well so far as the batsmen were concerned. The toss went to the West Indies, who took some time to make up their mind and then decided to bat first. We pick up play now in the very first over. Geoffrey Lawson is the bowler. 1 run on the board. He's bowling to Richard Gabriel. Your commentators, Ian Chappell and Keith Stackpole.
Richard Gabriel, basically a back foot player. He might have a few problems if this wicket is seaming around. But he's mainly onto the back foot. And his problem comes about because he makes that movement after the bowler has delivered the ball. So you see the position he's in there, back behind the crease with both feet. Then that's where he is set up to play most shots, and that's the problem that he has. He's playing a long way away from his feet when he tries to come forward. It's got to be close, and he's on his way. Umpire Crafter having a good long look and deciding that Richard Gabriel is out LBW.
Ian Chappell was just highlighting the stance of Richard Gabriel, and he certainly hit right across that one. He's trying to force it onto the onside. You see the back come on the angle, just trying to whip it away, and a good delivery just straightened up from Geoff Lawson. So that's a great breakthrough to Australia in this early over. Umpire Tony Crafter just thinking about it for a moment. Gabriel looking at the bat. I don't think he got an edge, and he's out without scoring. West Indies 1 for 1.
Rackerman to Richardson.
It's a good shot from Richardson. Maguire is the man chasing from mid-off. And Richardson very quickly back for the third. And after 2 overs, it's 1 for 5. That's a good shot from Richardson, getting it away fine, and it'll beat Maguire across the boundary. Placed that one nicely. That's almost taken there by David Hooks. Obviously the Australian fieldsman felt that there was an edge there. That ball really flew, came off Marsh's gloves, and Hooks almost caught it.
That would have been a sensational catch by David Hooks. You see it rebound behind Rodney Marsh, and an inquiring look from Geoff Lawson. He was blocked by Marsh. He couldn't see.
A new Rackerman over. 9 overs gone, 1 for 17.
There's a good shot. Got that away nicely, and the ground slopes over in that part there. But they're going to look for 4. Good cricket. Very, very good cricket. I reckon once he got in there for a while, he'd display some very good-looking attacking strokes as well.
Currently has 9 runs off the 31 deliveries he's faced.
And there's one of them, a square drive. Pick up 2 runs from that. Well, it's the Australian captain is under it. The wrong one to Hook, as indeed it was on Saturday. Almost a playback there, with Kim Hughes taking the catch off Rackerman, and Rackerman's extra bounce did the trick there. Richie Richardson out, caught Hughes, bowled Rackerman.
A combination of Rackerman's bounce and Richardson's impatience. Obviously not an accomplished player of the pull or hook shot, into position too late, the ball too close to the body, off the top edge, up into the air, into the hands of Hughes. Exit Richardson for 11, 2 for 24.
Well bowled. Well, it's 2 for 24. Viv Richards facing Rackerman. Oh, beautiful shot. A lovely little flick off the hip. And Richards is 3. 12 overs gone, 2 for 28. Play to Richards. Hit with tremendous power. McClay almost had time to get down to reach it. 2 for 32. Hogg to Haynes. Nice shot. It's a long chase. There are 2 men after it. And neither will be able to get it. Beautifully hit away off his toes by Desmond Haynes.
Yes, it was a very, very good stroke.
It's in the air and it's beaten Lawson. Good shot. Yeah, that's a dangerous over for Australia. They're bowling very tightly and the West Indies have got away. 2 for 44. Two for 44, and Desmond Haynes played beautifully in that over. Richards is 8. McClay is coming in from the southern all-round end, bowling to Richards. Oh, lovely stroke for 4 more runs. McClay was too short up in Brisbane the other day. The excuse given there was that everything was a bit slippery. Wasn't quite able to get his footing. You can't bowl there to that man.
That's a tremendous shot. Brings up the 50. That ball once again just a little bit wide and thrashed away behind square for 4.
Beautifully played. McClay short, medium pace, and Richards onto the back foot quickly. Hit over the top of that. Weight was beautifully balanced and it raced away to the backward point boundary. An expensive 2 overs from the Australian bowlers.
Oh, what a shot again. That one short too. On that occasion, he didn't quite get it in the middle of the bat. So 23 runs coming from the last 2 overs. The West Indies 2 for 55. So Rodney Hogg is doing very well. Oh, and that must have been close to off stump.
Vivian Richards was looking for the pull shot. Wasn't short enough. He was beaten by the pace of Rodney Hogg.
The Australians have been desperate to get rid of Vivian Richards. In the air, he's gone! They've got him! That's the end of Vivian Richards. A huge breakthrough for the Australians. Kepler Wessels making the catch at mid-on. Good bowling, Rodney Hogg.
And surprisingly, Vivian Richards going for the same shot again, as if to say, you can't beat me twice. It wasn't short enough. The pace of Hogg, the ball was onto him too quickly. Couldn't get it through mid-wicket. He got it high on the bat and it flew straight to mid-on. He took a very well-judged catch. So Vivian Richards depart and a vital wicket for Australia. 3 for 55, the West Indians.
And that's it in the air, but straight down the ground. The ball running away down towards the deep mid-on boundary. Wessels is after it and just pulling it back short of the boundary. 3 runs there to Haynes. Once again, Desmond Haynes opening the face and running the ball down to third man. And McClay having to move quite a long way to his left. Two more.
Looking solid, looking confident.
Oh, once again, played away down there towards third man, this time getting four. Well, that's magnificent batting there by Desmond Haynes, opening the face of the bat, playing the ball into the gaps.
3 for 70.
3 for 73. Desmond Haynes on 38, Clive Lloyd on 3. It's going to be Rodney Hogg. Your commentators now, Ian Chappell and Frank Tyson.
It's in the air, but just wide there of the fieldsman mid-wicket. Maguire quite able to get a hand to that.
After a maiden over, John comes in for a second over.
Drop there, getting the shot from Clive Lloyd. That's where he likes to loft the ball away. Kim Hughes had picked it pretty well.
This could be costly because the trap had obviously been set. The ball on leg stump. Lloyd cottoning onto that, hitting it fairly hard. The ball going away from hooks most of the time, making it difficult to get his hands to it. But he should have hung on to it.
Haynes in the air, just beating the bowler Maguire, and safely away to the boundary. There's 52, Desmond Haynes. Very good knock from Haynes. A vital one for the West Indies. Once again, he looks to the sky and says, "Thank you, Lord, for your little bit of assistance."
Play to Lloyd.
There's a big hit that's going out. Border's coming around. It's racing out towards the rope. That's 6 big ones, and Clive Lloyd picked it up beautifully. The stand is over 50 and a magnificent hit piece that bowl.
Well, Clive Lloyd's been sweating on that one. Just waiting for Ken McClay to overpitch, and just overpitched fractionally, and the big cat was right onto it. A magnificent hit. Maguire to Lloyd.
Gets hold of this one. Boy, oh boy, that's racing out towards square leg. 4 more. Tremendous competitor, Clive Lloyd. One of the best hitters in the game, whether it's Test cricket or one-day matches. Superb timing. Full pitch. Gets a single. They'll look for 2. Haynes looking for the second. Coming back. Throw from Hogg. It's going to be very close. Well run, Desmond Haynes.
So Clive Lloyd, he can probably look down that batting lineup and say, well, I'll take a few risks because we should be able to bat it through from here on in.
It's gone again. It's a big hit. There's a man out there. It's Border who's coming around. It's racing. It's over the rope again. And it's 6 more. Clive Lloyd, what a competitor. What a big hitter. And what a captain. Three for 130 to 31 overs. The West Indians picking up their run rate, and Rodney Hogg coming back into the attack from the members' end. Glorious shot. Alan Border, they're testing his arm, and they do it nicely. Well run, Clive Lloyd.
Great judgment by Lloyd on that occasion. Alan Border had the ball in his hand when Clive Lloyd was just turning for the third. He had a quick glance out, saw that it was a long return, and he took on Alan Border, and he made it into quite an easy 3. You see him charge back.
Big shout. It's close. It's out. Yes. Noel Johnson there having a good look at that appeal from Rodney Hogg. Clive Lloyd hitting it across the line. adjudged LBW on a vital breakthrough again by Rodney Hogg.
There's been a couple of close LBWs over the last few overs. Rodney Hogg delivers it pretty straight. Just goes on nicely. Clive Lloyd coming across with that back leg, and that was fairly plumb. Would have hit middle and off, about 2/3 the way up. And umpire Mel Johnson, he's always pretty tough on LBW decisions. He gives that one out, and that's an excellent breakthrough by the Australians. They certainly needed it. Clive Lloyd a brisk 40, and the West Indies 4 for 135.
West Indies after 32 overs, 4 for 135. It's Maguire to replace McClay. Desmond Haynes on 56, the key now for the West Indian side. He could be out. He's got him. Mid-on, both hands to it. Flew away. They picked up a single.
And Greg Ritchie, that went to him like a rocket. It was hit beautifully by Desmond Haynes. One might expect him to go a little quieter at this stage.
First it was hooks at deep backward square leg when the batsman was Lloyd. This time it's Haynes and the fieldsman is Ritchie. He's gone after this one. It's a big slog over square leg, and that's 4. Strange tactics that from Desmond Haynes.
Yes, a little difficult to work out. Suffering the loss of Clive Lloyd in the previous over.
Desmond Haynes on 65. Maguire the bowler. Looks for 1, he'll look for 2. Hogg was slow starting, and Desmond Haynes has picked it up. Got a bonus run.
Hogg to Haynes. Lawson's way down at deep fine leg. Recovered well enough in the end. And applause from down that Sheridan stand in for Geoffrey Lawson.
Haynes plays pretty well too. My word, Haynes has favoured that cut shot. Four for 158. While beginning a new over to Dujon. Flourish of the bat. An edge. And it's speeding away down there, and there's a little piece of rugby football going on down there as Hogg flings himself like a scrum half and picks that ball up just in front of the rope.
It's Geoffrey Dujon now, and recommends the bowler. Good catch. Well done. Geoffrey Dujon goes. Just a miscue out the mid-off, and that is a priceless wicket for Australia. Vessels for a moment didn't think the ball was going to reach him. He may not have picked it up all that quickly, but he got it in the end.
A typical sliced Dujon drive. Previously, he had just failed to reach Greg Ritchie at mid-on with a similar sort of shot. This time, however, the ball had enough impetus to carry into the hands of Vessels, driving forward to grasp the 5 for 168.
Time running ball.
Haynes hits that one away on the onside once again. Just one bounce to hooks the throws in, and Logie very quick getting back down the other end.
That's good running.
Backs away, smashes it down towards square leg. Rackerman's going to try and get there. He can't. That's 4. Well placed. Haynes attempting a hook shot there, playing it very fine.
Augustine Logie facing Lawson.
He's bowled in. Neck and crop. That is a beautiful delivery by Lawson, right up in the block hole there. Logie having to go for it, playing over the top, and he's clean bowled.
Great competitor, Geoffrey Lawson, and a fine bowler to boot. Right on line, right at the stumps, trying to hit down the ground. Yorked in, hit over the top of it, took the leg stump, and Geoffrey Lawson strikes at a vital time for Australia. The final overs at 6 for 195. beautifully poised today. Got it all together to Baptiste.
Oh, well bowled again by Lawson. You can't beat those Yorkers. Coming back for the second. This could be close. They are quick, these West Indians.
Hogg to Haynes.
Oh, well played. Maguire diving away down to his right there.
The batsman, the fieldsman under tremendous pressure. Desmond Haynes on 99.
Nicely played. That's 100, and is he happy? Desmond Haynes coming back for the second, bored of the fieldsman, and that's been a superb innings. The first by a West Indian in the Benson Hedges World Series Cup at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And why shouldn't he be happy? A full house of 40,000 people, and he's played superbly. Applause from his teammates, a standing ovation, a tremendous knock. There was a lot of movement early. Haynes weathered the storm, and congratulations to Desmond Haynes. He's been out of form for several years, only averaged 17 in the Test matches against India. He's come out here to Australia and he's played superbly today. And isn't he a happy man? Well played. Good luck to him.
He's bowled in. Baptiste bowled by another Yorker from Lawson. Well, he certainly got those going today. That's magnificent bowling.
Amongst all the excitement of the 100, Desmond Haynes, Jeffrey Lawson still on the job. Perfect length. The big backward to the West Indians, and Lawson sneaks through a bit of pad there, took middle and off stump. And a fine effort from the Australian fast bowler. And the West Indies now 7 for 207 in the 47th over.
Hogg to Haynes.
We smashed that way down into the outfield. One bounce into the crowd. That was a magnificent shot.
Well, that's just about the shot of the day. He hit that like a bullet. It sped to the square leg boundary. No effort at all. Hogg's not slow. He was in position beautifully and just whipped it away, and it raced out to the boundary. Fieldsman didn't have one chance of picking it up. It crashed into the fence. This is the 49th over, and the clock on the scoreboard showing 5:59. In fact, it's ticked over to 6 o'clock, so this will be the last over, the 49th over, bowled by Jeff Lawson.
They're going to run for it. There's a shy at the stumps down there, but they've crossed easily.
Well, the Australians will have 49 overs to bat. They're going to be chasing at least 222. He's been the key, Desmond Haynes, on 108.
Lawson, the last ball of the innings, down the leg side to Marsh. He shies at the stumps. They've got themselves a single, so 223. That was a leg by. And that's the end of the West Indian innings, 223. They've lost 7 wickets in achieving that total, and they've scored those runs at 4.56 per over.
Well, that was a pretty good effort in the end by the Winds to get up to 23, and then I think it's going to be rather little. The card of the Desmond Haynes, not 100 balls from him. They lost him first. Clive Lloyd was the second top scorer with 40 from 60 balls, and that partnership between Haynes and Lloyd realised 80 in 66 minutes. The bowling figures for Australia: Lawson 3 for 30, Rackerman 2 for 33, McLean none for 47, Hogg 2 for 59 was expensive tonight, even though he picked up 2 wickets, and Maguire no wicket for 38. So the run rate needed by the Australians was 4.57 per over. A very, very difficult task against this West Indian attack. Here's Wayne Daniel now coming in to bowl the second over of the innings. No runs on the board. A couple of Vessels is taking strike, and your commentator is Ian Chappell.
Couple of Vessels off the mark. Greg Ritchie off the mark. Michael Holding is away down at fine leg. That's come off the thigh pad, I think, or the hip. Tremendous take by Jeffrey Dujon.
It certainly was, and the men on the leg side all went up. Kepler Wessels looking to edge it away, just flicked the top of the pad. An excellent take, out went the right hand. Jeffrey Dujon thought he hit it, and he threw it up, as did the fieldsman on the onside. Found some form up in the Sydney, the day-night match last week, 92, and was looking fairly good on Sunday. 5 not out.
Picking the gap nicely. It's Baptiste, the man moving around from mid-off. Sellout crowd here at the SCG watching Australia chase 224 for victory. Good shot from Greg Ritchie. He's very strong on the onside. Just needs to be a little careful. The bounce is variable. He is tending to get across in front of his stumps. That's a fine shot from Ritchie. Been given a bit of room there by Michael Holding.
And Kepler Wessels still playing with that angled bat of his. He does get into trouble when he plays forward. Enormous angle as he takes up his strike.
Logie, man at cover, and there'll be overthrows there. Winston Davis has a bit of a chase. That was a poor piece of work from Augustine Logie. Once again, Wessels tests out Logie. That single takes them to 22, needing 202 for victory.
Davis to Ritchie.
That's a beautiful stroke. Time to perfection. Winston Davis coming on in place of Michael Holding. Looking for the outswinger, but it didn't move, and Ritchie clipped it beautifully.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about any pads when he plays them like this. That's a magnificent shot. Right off the meat of the bat, straight into the gap, and time to perfection.
Now we get for 32. A change in the bowling at the M.A. Noble stand end. Eldine Baptiste takes over from Wayne Daniel. Target for Australia is 224. Have to be quick here. He was gone. There was that hesitation. Ritchie didn't go straight away, and he'd have been gone and forgotten if Baptiste had hit the stumps.
Baptiste quite quick. That ball played off the pad down onto the area around the stumps there, and have a look at that. He's not even close. He would have been out by 2 yards. Baptiste very quick down the wicket there. Had to pick that ball up, underarm it, and had he hit, a yard and a half.
Davis to Ritchie. Put it down. Oh, it's a life for Greg Ritchie. For one moment I thought it was going up in the air above Lloyd, and I think he did too, but he's in trouble. West Indies captain, I think, has split the third finger. He's already got a bandage on the little finger of that right hand, but he's going straight off the field. There's a blow, West Indies.
Edge there, and Clive Lloyd look as if he had it for away, I think, on the end of the finger alongside the little one.
Viv Richards to be leading the side at the moment. And an anxious glance there to the pavilion to see if he can pick up what's happening there. Greg Ritchie takes strike now to Baptiste. He's got it away, he didn't quite time it. The crowd is willing it on. Nicely fielded. Good stop. Wayne Daniel.
Daniel certainly did do very well there. He really got after that as fast as he possibly could. Little lucky in the end not to turn his ankle over.
None for 43, 14 gone. Winston Davis. Good shot. Pace taken off it by the man in at mid-wicket. So it's just 2 runs to Vessels.
In these one-day games, if you can get some runs on the board without losing too many wickets early on, you really are going to be able to launch yourself at the end.
Good shot. It'll be cut off down on the boundary by Baptiste. But nicely timed by Greg Ritchie. 2 more to him, and a lovely throw from Eldine Baptiste. It's been some good cricket here today. Greg Ritchie takes strike now to Baptiste.
It's in the air, could be out, straight down to Wayne Daniel. No balls are called. The crowd roar. They roar again. Mel Johnson the caller. And a chance of a run-in as well.
What an extraordinary event. Ritchie quite obviously didn't hear the call of no ball at all. So there's no doubt about it. He wouldn't have altered his shot. It seemed to come off pad, then onto bat. Ritchie's expression says it all. He's disappointed. He's out, he thinks. He doesn't look up. The umpire's arm is outstretched. He makes his way towards the pavilion, tongue between his lips. He looks around. Somebody says something to him. It's only then he got back into his crease. The moon is not blue, but it certainly is a very, very beautiful creamy texture. That looking down, it's a beautiful evening here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Vessels again finds a gap. The Australians away to a great start. It's 55 without loss. Australia well poised with 10 wickets in hand. Oh, the pad beats the keeper. Crowd roars, but just the one, a leg by.
Well, that was a rather unusual deflection that completely bemused Geoffrey Dujon. Vessel's going to turn the ball on the leg side, deflects the ball behind the stumps.
Beautiful shot, beautifully timed. Greg Ritchie races out towards square leg. Bit of soccer work. They're 3 for 2. The big crowd roar their approval. That fine shot off his pads, beautifully played.
Ritchie and Vessels gain in confidence as the overs pass. After 17 overs, remember 49 overs, the maximum for this game. Comparison shown there.
Vessels drives, finds a gap. A couple of Vessels finding touch with his placement. 2 runs.
Slowing down slightly after 19 overs, no wicket for 66. Remember, they're chasing that target of 223, need 224 to win.
It's well placed, it's beautifully placed.
Well, that's Greg Ritchie's strength. He's done that on several occasions. He's going to close it low, and he's out. What a way to finish a glorious stroke like that. To go for an ill-judged 3rd run like that.
Wayne Daniel, the slowest moving West Indian, a big man. It was a glorious stroke off his pads. Was placed to perfection. It found the gap. He called. He was off quickly. We see Wayne Daniel there, the fast bowler, putting in the big ones. Ritchie turns there. Let's watch him turn for the 3rd. He comes back. He stops slightly. Slow off the mark. The throw's good. It's a beauty. And he's gone for all money. And a great breakthrough for West Indians. And a tragedy for Ritchie, who played superbly for 30. 1 for 68.
Australia currently scoring at 3.36 runs per over, which has pushed their required run rate up to 5.56. It was 4.55 when they started the innings. That's got to be pretty close. Yes, Kepler-Wessels on his way. That was the straight delivery there from Vivian Richards. He bowls mostly at the stumps, and you don't want to miss him too often.
Wessels going for the sweep shot there. Viv Richards pretty close in at the stumps, and he was down the wicket in front of the crease there, but that one looked as if it was going to hit the stumps. And umpire Crafter raising the finger. That's the end of Wessels, and Australia are now 2 down for 75.
Australia 2 for 76, requiring 148 more runs for victory. 2 men out, both getting a start, Ritchie and Wessels. Border on 1. And that's in the air and straight to Vivian Richards. And the acting captain is right in the game at the moment.
Breakthrough for the West Indians. The Australians only have 5 bat. Key men, Alan Bourne, straight to extra cover. Down she comes, and the Australians now in just a little bit of trouble. 3 for 76.
Richards bowls to the Australian captain, Kim Hughes.
It's a slower delivery there from Richards, and the pull shot from Hughes just bouncing inside the rope.
That's a good shot from Hughes. He played it in the air, but played it into the gap down there at square leg. Tries to lift boundary at square leg. Didn't quite middle the ball. But play out.
Gus Logie is out on the cover boundary.
And that Gus Logie is lightning fast out there too.
That beats Richardson in the covers. But Desmond Haynes has moved around from point.
3 for 104. Australia 3 for 95, just lagging behind a little bit now.
Hooks edging that way, one away intentionally down to third man. Oh, and that's a great delivery from Baptiste, knocking the off stump right out of the ground. Kim Hughes hitting across that delivery. And Australia for a moment celebrating the 100 coming up, but that won't give them anything to celebrate. Hughes trying to smash that one away on the onside. Just a little bit of pad and off stump right out of the ground. So that's the 4th Australian wicket to go down, with the total at 100.
Surprise ball, but Hooks was equal to it. 4 for 110. Davis to David Hooks. That's a beautiful shot by Hooks. There's been some prayers time, but that was a beautifully timed shot. Marsh is going to look for 2. He'll have to be quick. Makes it. And in fact, a little bit of pressure on for the run out there. And the fate that
befell him in Melbourne almost befell him again here in Sydney. 4 for 132, and if Australia can win this match, they'll be over that moon.
We'll get 2 there if Hooks can come back quickly enough.
Australia exactly 1 run per over behind the required run rate.
Get 2 there. Nice shot from David Hooks. And look for 3. Marsh is coming back. They have to take all those runs, and they have to hit some boundaries as well. Davis to Marsh.
And that's beautifully timed by Rodney Marsh. Just what Australia needed. A boundary, they probably need a couple more of them.
Wayne Daniel to Rodney Marsh.
Marsh whipping the ball away on the onside. And that's where Wayne Daniel isn't all that well protected. So he has a real problem if he's going to aim at leg stump, because there is no fine leg. Oh, and that's got him. Marsh trying to loft away on the onside. And a very important wicket there from Wayne Daniel.
Well, Ian Chappell was just highlighting the big gap down a fine leg, and that enticed Rodney Marsh to go for that rather ambitious shot. Looking for the big gap, he played right across it, gave it the lift of the head, and back goes that middle stump, and not a good shot from Rod Marsh. Should have worked it out a little clearer than that, and Rodney Marsh is out for 27, and Australia 5 for 156.
Daniel bowls to David Hooks.
Sliced away on the offside. Augustine Logie, and a marvellous catch he's taken out there. The little fella really is a good fielder, and that was a well-judged catch. Tremendous take there by little Augustine Logie.
Well, the last ball of the over, and David Hooks going for the big hit, and that was a magnificent catch out a deep forward point. Logie had to look into the hill. It wouldn't have been easy. The background would have been very difficult for him. He's only a small man. He got up off the ground, fell back and clutched onto it. And what a relieved Gus Logie it is. And all the West Indians over to him in jubilation. So David Hooks out for 35, and Australia struggling at 6 for 164. Jeff Lawson, 3 runs from 6 balls. Wayne Daniel, 2 for 20 from 8 overs.
And Daniel following Lawson there, and a magnificent piece of fielding by Vivian Richards. What a job he's doing as captain. Picked up a wicket himself, a catch, and what a marvellous piece of work there from side on. He really is the best all-round fieldsman I've ever seen.
Well, it had to come. Frustration for Lawson. He took Richards on and lost by a mile. Look at that, just one stump to aim at. And spot on. A magnificent piece of fielding by Vivian Richards, and that made Mel Johnson's task an easy one, that. So Australia really struggling now. 7 for 171, still needing 53 runs for victory.
$40,000 spectators here. Nick would be pointed with this batting. 68 for the first wicket. As Holding comes in. Mackay gets that to point. A misfield, one of the rare misfields by the West Indians. A bonus. 2 runs.
Holding to Hogg.
You're going to do the same to players as Rodney Hogg has bowled out. Perfectly straight, medium pace, short of a length delivery.
bowled by Holding, and the off stump of Rodney Hogg out of the ground.
Here's Holding, good line and length. Hogg making some room, missed it by the proverbial mile. And another Australian wicket falls, and the West Indians right on top here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, 8 for 175.
Macleay takes strike to Holding.
That's well hit. It's racing out towards the long off position, 2 runs. Australians have only scored 2 boundaries in the last 16 overs, and that's the tale of this match. The West Indians have controlled the situation. 38 runs required to win. 11 balls remaining for the Australian batsman. And that's racing out towards the boundary. This could be a boundary. No, it's kicked back and they're through for 2. Macleay's looking for the 3rd. It's fumbled by Gujon. 3 runs. Well run, Ken Macleay. 1 over remaining. 8 for 192. It's Michael Holding. And he's knocked out the off stump. Well, it's all happening here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The West Indian fans are going berserk here. Not so the Australians, as Daniel Holding, swing and a miss, off stump out the ground. Macleay departs.
And Michael Holding's 2nd wicket, knocking over the stumps of Ken Macleay. Macleay out for 15, and now Australia 9 for 192 in this final over.
Yes, and 1 delivery remaining. 1 almighty hit, says the scoreboard. Have to be into a train, they'll have to run at 39. Get into the good yard. It's the only hope they got as Holding comes in. Struck out to Richards at cover. And a very easy and comfortable victory for the West Indian team. They outbatted, outfielded, and outbowled the Australians here.
Well, I'm afraid that was a thoroughly disappointing effort by the Australians to be bowled out, well, not quite bowled out, but for so few runs. And it was disappointing because they got away to such a good start. Ritchie and Vessels did very well until that tragic run-out came along. That really was a poor piece of judgment on Ritchie's part, because Wayne Daniel had actually thrown the ball, not just had it in his hand, but he had thrown it before Ritchie started to come back for the 3rd run. The card of the Australian innings, Ritchie out for 30, and he was 2nd top score. Gives you an idea of how poor the Australian batting was. David Hookes top scored with 35, but it took him 60 balls. Kepler Wessels 27 in 77 balls faced, so that going was tough out there right from the word go, even though they did put on 68, that opening pair, in 20 overs. Rodney Marsh 27 again, but they struggled all the time, and that run rate went up and up and up. I thought the West Indies were brilliantly handled by Viv Richards. He brought back Wayne Daniel at just the right time, and Daniel bowled superbly towards the end. 10 overs, no maiden, 2 for 29. 2 for 35 to Holding, none for 39 to Davis, who didn't bowl badly actually. 2 for 32 to Baptiste, and Richards himself bowled a full 10 overs, 1 for 41. So the Australians have slipped back there in the Benson Hedges points table. The West Indians now have gone on to 6 points. Australia and Pakistan remain on 3, and it'll be tough going for them. West Indies play Pakistan here at the SCG on Thursday night. The man of the match was Desmond Haynes, 108 from 130 deliveries, and he thoroughly deserved it. Just 2 points to come out of the match. One, the ground authorities here at the Sydney Cricket Ground will have to do something about those cardboard cartons that were thrown onto the field. It's thoroughly dangerous for the fielders out there, and I was surprised the umpires allowed the match to go on. The SCG Trust must ban those. They must not allow people to buy them with the drinks they buy at the bars around the ground, and it was a very, very dangerous episode. Actually lived it. Just 2 to come out. Ground authority here, the cricket ground will have to do something about those cardboard cartons that were thrown onto the field. It's thoroughly dangerous for the fielders out there, and I was surprised the umpires allowed the match to go on. The SCG Trust must ban those. They must not allow people to buy them with the drinks they buy at the bars around the ground, and it was a very, very dangerous episode, and could have been potentially really damaging to one of the players. The other